And we have our players ready for the top 8 featured match. And we know that playmat on the left. We had that gentleman in the featured match earlier on in one of our Swiss rounds. And if I remember correctly, can remember that he was another one of our Blackwing players. So he was the second Blackwing player that made his way into top cut. He did better than the opponent of Yugioh here in top 16. So he's still in the tournament. And on the right, with a beautiful, not gonna lie, Yugioh Schmidt in his interview earlier said he hates Dark Armed Dragon because he always gets beaten by it. But this mat is so beautiful. I don't know, like I'm, as I told you many times, not that much into artworks, but this playmat is incredible.
I was gonna say, I thought you were just reading the effect text and then you were letting go of the cards, but yeah, this is in fact one of the coolest mats we have. I think Steffen Eichelberger, who we saw earlier on stream, he has it framed, and I envy him for it. But Mark on the left is not our other Blackwing player. He is indeed playing the Zombie Plant deck, which I'm really happy about. And we're playing versus Kristyasworn, a deck that we haven't seen on stream at all today, which makes me wonder, is there maybe a little bit of chaos in this deck, and are we seeing like the full boss monster deck with Dark Armed Chaos Sorcerer, Kristya, and Judgment Dragon, which sounds like a break already, if I'm saying it like that.
Now so I remember Mark, though. Mark put up a show earlier with his Plants vs. Zombie deck. After we saw Mark play with that deck, we were like, okay, maybe this is going to be our winner of the tournament. He's still going strong, being a representative here for top 8, but I can tell you, if Kristyasworn opens up powerful, you might only get a couple of turns, and I don't know whether the Plants vs. Zombie deck has those couple of turns here. Like, whether it can put up enough defense versus the Kristyasworn.
I mean, Lightsworn is always a high roll, right? This deck really, if you open well, then there is no deck that can just like scratch at your power level, because cards like Judgment Dragon are just absolutely insane. Archlord Kristya is completely crazy. But if that's all a big if, but we're opening with Judgment Dragon, Kristya, and Solar Recharge. I can't see the other cards. It doesn't seem to be a Lightsworn card in hand, and this is where it starts to get tricky.
Set one monster pass, getting it over to the Plants vs. Zombies deck, who started off with a Lure of Darkness.
I'm gonna refill my glass of water before it's too late.
Sure. We are banishing the Zombie Master, which does not necessarily seems like the best card there, but sure. Oh, and there's Sangren attacking into the super nimble Mega Hamster. So we did not have access to a Lightsworn in our opening hand, but we do have Raikou being special summoned out by the effect of Hamster here.
So really cool. Raikou is now set. Of course, you would rather want to have this one in your hand. Maybe there's a Celestia in hand, which is also a fairy, and you don't want to discard that if you're starting with Super Nimble Mega Hamster.
True. That could very well be the case. Agreed. Also, just in case, Typhoon, you can hear us, which probably is the case, maybe update to top 8, because that is where we're in right now. Only also, 8 players left in competition.
Greetings. Thank you.
And look! As quick as a lightning, he immediately did it. And we milled Celestia, we milled Plague Spreader Zombie. And
the rest of this hand does not look too good. You could tribute summon Kristya here, by the way.
Ooh, true. There's double Judgment Dragon. So as soon as he gets any way to pop off here, it's going to be massive. Like, he needs a little bit more time, yes. But if he gets a card that gets him rolling here, it's almost instantly over, because there are so many blowout cards on his hand.
I don't know if the first card in his graveyard that he milled with Raikou is also a Lightsworn.
If it is, that's strong, yeah.
If it is, then he just needs one more Lightsworn discarded with Solar Recharge, and I think that you actually want to tribute summon the Kristya here.
I can see that.
Because you have no other plays. Your opponent just searched for Lone Fire Blossom, which is their follow-up, and you completely deny it.
He's thinking about it, that's for sure. But we do use the Plague Spreader Zombie instead, going for a Synchro 4 here. Oh, no, wait. Oh, no, we're tributing both of those for the Kristya.
And what did we put on top of our deck that we want to draw after this?
I don't know, to be honest, but
Maybe we just want to punch with the hamster?
yeah, okay, let's make it quicker because is that 2 turns? That is 39 damage,
Yeah.
so yeah, that would be exactly 2 turns. I mean, one of those 2 turns is already gone, so this is putting Mark on a clock. He has to find an answer to that field right away, right in that next turn, and otherwise he's not going to have another turn in this match.
I mean, I kind of dislike it of also to like delay your possible releasing draw, because if there is a Raikou set now, Kristya will be put on top of the deck as well, and then you have 2 draws that are not going to do anything for you.
But on the other end, you still have Celestia in hand, right? So if one of those monsters is left on the field, Celestia is strong.
When did he pick up Celestia?
Wasn't? Oh no, wait, there was no. Yeah. You were thinking whether there is Celestia, but no, there can't be Celestia. You're right. There just cannot be.
Now this is even the 1 draw really hurts because the Dimensional Prison is really strong here. You are not picking up your Solar Recharge just yet. The Dimensional Prison is hitting really hard, and now all of a sudden you are playing versus the clock. This can be something like a Necro Gardener. I mean, it must be some kind of a brick, right?
Yeah. It can't be a Lightsworn monster, that's for sure. And there's Chaos. We're going to find out. What is it? We can't necessarily tell. It's a level 4 monster. That's what I can tell. It's another hamster. Oh, hamster would have been huge if it got to resolve its flip effect to get out the Raikou. But it doesn't because of the Chaos. Holy.
Yeah. And now we are seeing a Solar Recharge.
There's Lila being picked up. That is super insane. He gets to actually have another Lightsworn engraved, but
this might.
I think it's still only. I think it's still only 3 Lightsworns. There's Orcus.
We are crashing.
We are crashing the Orcus. I mean that. Oh, imagine this being Dimensional Prison. Oh, there's Honest though. Okay. There's Honest.
Oh, we are going for Kristya after this. We have another one.
I think. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there is another Kristya, but no, he's passing.
No, we are passing, and now we milk the Jane. So. I think that Philip shouldn't be at 7,000. I think the Caius did 2,400 damage as well. Mark has 1 turn. Mark has kind of exactly 1 turn. He has Mizuki in the graveyard. So...
Can he figure out a way here?
Have Zombie Master plus Plague Spreader Zombie. There is a world. Oh, we also have Tragodia, which can probably not stall for a turn.
Nah, absolutely not. If our opponent has Judgment Dragon, it doesn't help at all. So, the set card also is only the Heavy Storm. So, as you said, I probably agree that this is going to be the last chance for Mark. He has to find a solution right here, right now. Be it with his plants or be it with his zombies, he just has to figure out a way.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the plant engine is that if your only plant monster is... Mystic Tomato. I mean, of course, Titania is also kind of cool here. It's a lot of damage at least.
But it is the Mystic Tomato indeed.
That is not the power play that you need in this scenario right here.
It really isn't. It really isn't. Oh, it was so important for Philip to finally draw Lightsworn for turn. That was so crazily important to him.
And now we have 5 Lightsworns in the grave even, so...
This is going to be a quick Judgment Dragon. It's hitting the field, paying 1,000 life points. We are destroying the whole field, and just for the flex, another Lightsworn Dragon, the double Lightsworn Dragon, even though only 1 was needed. And so even though Philip playing on the Dark Arm Dragon playmat, he is hammering those Lightsworn cards and this Judgment Dragon, to be specific, onto the table, and that is 1-0 for Philip and his Lightsworn strategy.
Yep, I'm really happy that you said Judgment Dragon after all, because the Lightsworn Dragon actually is Dragonith.
Sorry. True.
I actually once designed a quiz, and my question was, what is the name of the Lightsworn Dragon? And when the quizzy said Dragonith, I was like, oh, I am really stupid.
Atlantis Kama says, I love Lightsworn, no cap. I do as well. It's such an iconic deck, even though it can be kind of hard to play against because they just overwhelm you from time to time. You cannot really do anything against it. Still, like, the artworks of the cards are so cool. Also, they are so iconic and old. And like Solar Recharge is somewhat cool as well. I don't know, just this random mills of cards. Like sometimes you sit there do nothing, sometimes you do sit there and you basically deal 16,000 points of damage. It's just, it can be the one way or the other way around. And if it is your day, it's probably going to be your day for real. Like if you mill good for a whole day, you're probably just going to win the tournament because there's nothing stopping this deck.
I mean, the deck also has a 1-card OTK.
It does, yeah, it does.
Charge of the Light Brigade, Mill Triple Wolf, Search Lila.
Yeah, and what deck in 2010 Time Wizard format can really say that for itself, that it has a 1-card OTK? I mean, it's a pretty unlikely one, I will say, but sure, I will give it to you. Oh, and look, Philip revealing the Royal Oppression there while shuffling. Maybe being a little bit nervous, but it should be Mark that is nervous here because he is down 1 game and Philip could be a little bit more chill here.
Omega Blip, this format was a really short format, and the most popular or the most famous tournament from that time was held in Edison, New Jersey.
True, true. Also, quick update, Jack Pilor, Josh did win his top 16 featured match and therefore is playing his top 8 match currently off stream. So, game number 2 coming up, Mark versus Philip, Plants versus Zombies versus Kristyasworn. And maybe we have more answers. Let's say Starlight Road is a good start. I see Starlight Road in the opening hand of Mark, and that at least is preventing Judgment Dragon from going super hard.
Well, I think, is there Aaron in the hand of Philip, which is insane, versus Setmonsters? Oh, we are already starting off with a Solar Recharge. Let's pay the cost. Basti, Solar Recharge, discard Raikou. Do your Solemn Judgment that if you have it.
Nope. And, oh, that's 2 fairies. I think do we have Kristya again? We already have, I mean, it's Kristya and Soul of Purifying Light, I think, that we see there. Garalo, I thought the same thing. Philip is really going strong with his 2010 equipment because I have not seen a calculator like that since 2010 at a Yu-Gi-Oh event. Back in the day, everyone used that, but nowadays everyone just uses Neuron. Oh, but was that Mirror Force?
Aaron was special summoned back with the Lumina, the 1-of Lumina, and the Mirror Force hits hard. Now, Mark immediately has the card advantage here. We are only on 1 fairy. We are already on 3 Light Swans, though. Goblin Zombie is going to mill another card from the deck of Philip. I cannot imagine that this is what you want to do, but there is like... there's not that much Mark can do. Like, if he had Link Monsters, then he could just go crazy right now, but he really
Call of the Haunted for Aaron.
Special summoning the Aaron against this. I would just take the attack of the Goblin Zombie and mill another card.
Agree, honestly. Oh, and look, we're crashing the Sangan. Taking a little bit of damage, but also getting the Surge in.
That is crazy, because he has normal summoned, right?
I do think so, yeah. And we see in his hand there's Gale, there's Mystic Tomato.
Oh, yes, we are going for
I see. I see.
I like what I see. This is a really heads-up play from Mark, and now he just hopes that he isn't punished by Honest.
Yep. And I mean, that makes it even more questionable that Philip decided to use that Call of the Haunted so preemptively there, right? Because, yep, we are already taking the damage. That looks like this is going to resolve.
Yeah, I think that just taking 2,100 damage is not that big of a deal, especially if Goblin Zombie mills you another card from the top of the deck, and I think that's actually mandatory. But I'm going to check that, to be honest.
Sure. So, good turn there from Mark. After Call of the Haunted was used, he could capitalize on his own Tragodia, and let's see what's coming now from his opponent. As I said, there's always the potential of that one big turn by Lightsworn. The upside here from Mark, though, is that there's a Starlight Road set, so he could be protected at least by a Judgment Dragon coming down.
Goblin Zombie is mandatory.
Alrighty.
And Kataman Telodus also.
Ooh, Soul of Purifying Light and Orcus coming down.
Yeah, you can't use your Starlight Road on that.
Not really, but I like all the bluffing. We have seen a lot of bluffing today. The players are really trying to make their opponents think that it's like Dimensional Prison or Dust Tornado or something, because they always stop at certain points where you'd expect certain cards to be activated, to always have that mind game going, to always make your opponent think that there are specific cards in their back row, and therefore they may play around them, and that just gives you an advantage, because this format is so slow that sometimes not committing at the right time is going to cost you the game.
I mean, especially against Lightsworn, the earlier the better, right? You have to commit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
This deck doesn't wait for a few turns. I mean, Kristyasworn seems to be right now the, I guess, best variant of the deck. You're not even running Wolf, so you're trying to not break too hard.
Yeah, true.
Kristya is incredibly powerful. The fact that you can also tribute summon it, is really strong. Is that a set Royal Decree now?
I think it was Oppression, actually. I think it was Oppression. We're milling another Herald of Orange Light, so that brings us... Is that 4 fairies with the Soul and Purifying Light already? Yeah. It is, right?
I think so. Now we are activating...
Oh, the Royal Oppression! Oh boy, do we have an answer to that? We do not, and that will leave us with no monsters on the field!
Yep, that is going to be a tough one.
Oh, but there's a lure. Do we find something to counter that?
Problem is that Mark can also pay for the Royal Oppression versus the Kristya.
That's fair, but I mean, again, he's on a clock. Like, only 7,100 life points. 2 monsters that combined already have more than 3,000 attack points. It's getting tight out there.
Yep, we are setting more cards. We are drawing one on the side of Philip. Is he going to find another monster to summon? Nope, we are attacking with Orcus. We are attacking with the Soul of Purifying Light. Indeed. And now we're just waiting. I think we're milling 2 more cards, which could be a problem if he hits another fairy.
Didn't look like it. One of the cards... I think it could... It looks like 2. It looks like 2 trap cards that have been milled there.
And you can go for the tomato onto the Orcus, which actually relieves you from a bit of stress. 200 damage, not too much. We're just waiting with more and more monster cards in hand. Actually, something looked like a trap. No, absolutely not. We drew a spell card here. This could very well be a Charge of the Light Brigade, if I'm not completely mistaken.
But do we even have a Light Zone to discard with it? I don't think we do have that at the moment, because last turn we did not summon a monster. And I think we, at that point, can be kind of sure that the back row is not Torrential, because Torrential would have been used earlier. So I think Philip could, at that point, have somewhat of a read that the set card is the Starlight Road, because it had no use at all so far in this game. And I think all of the other cards somewhat had a window to be activated already. So it really, it looks like it may as well be that Starlight Road, which in fact it is.
Why exactly was the Soul of Purifying Light put in defense position here?
Good question. You didn't want to run over the Mystic Tomato, I guess. And you didn't want to give him the chance to crash it either. There comes Soul. I think he just picked up the Lila for turn, making his Solar Recharge in hand live. And what's next?
He has Honest, which is...
Ooh, wait. Chat is pointing out that Tomato was lower than Orcus. So he couldn't even attack over the Orcus. Right? So, I don't know, Typhon, you can hear us, whether we can rewind until then, but he couldn't run over the Orcus with... he couldn't run over the Orcus with the Mystic Tomato, because Orcus was also... No, wait, the Mystic Tomato was actually shrinked.
That's Purity and Light, not Purifying Light. I don't know where we
Yeah, true. I don't know either. At some point, I brought it up.
Yeah. That was an issue in London as well.
True, yeah. Those are very similar names, to be fair, though. Alright, so the players just keep on playing here.
I hope that Typhoon recognizes this at some point.
Also, I think we did fix it to top 8 earlier on, and now it went back to top 16 on the overlay, which is kind of weird and kind of strange. But yeah, I think that there definitely is some talking to the judge right now. Look, they are looking to the side. They are stopping to play. So
That is, especially with Lights One, a really tough one to rewind.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't know whether it's somehow possible to rewind.
That kind of sounds like a game loss. To me, I just don't know against whom.
Hmm. We will have to figure it out. We both have judged in the past, but our judging days are long over. So I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of judges nowadays because I know that I couldn't do the job as well as they do. So let's just see how. Okay, apparently there was the decision that we cannot rewind that at all, and therefore we just keep on playing, which I think is also somewhat of a reasonable approach to that situation because it would have been basically impossible to rewind here.
Yeah.
So
game. Ooh. Plague Spreader Zombie, and now his own oppression comes to bite him because the I thought that the oppression was an odd choice in the deck because you can't summon your Krystia or your Judgment Dragon, like half of your deck is special summons, and you're not running cards like Chaos or something.
And there's Light Imprisoning Mirror now as well for Mark, so I think he starts to feel safe here in this game. He starts to think that he's getting back into this.
Now that is 1,400 damage, which is again kind of painful.
Oh look, Typhoon updated us. Philip is fine with playing on. Okay, that's very fair of him. That's cool. So, oh, and there's no milling in end phase because the Light Imprisoning Mirror has just been activated.
And the problem with the Light and Mirror is I think the effects are only on the field and in the graveyard, right?
Yep.
So Honest is still very much a game-breaking card here. If you attack into the Lila, you're going down to 800 life points. If you're doing it with a Chaos, and you will of course do that, Honest will get dropped. And yeah, you can't even negate a special summon then anymore. I mean, you can, but then you lose immediately.
You probably wouldn't be advised to do so, that's right. Oh, you're right. Like, attacking with Caius here is actually really risky, and you should probably not do... Oh, yeah. Oh, he has Plague Spreader Zombie, so you can work around a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, but there is still oppression.
True. But, oh, yeah, you're right. Oppression is annoying.
That is a really incredibly weird normal summon here. Because, like, you can't Starlight Road a Mirror Force.
That is indeed true. And now he does commit into the attack with Caius. And there is the Honest. The one card that punishes him here is going to come down. And that brings Mark down to such a small amount of life points only. To 800 exactly. So as you just were saying, the Royal Oppression is not going to be able to be used by Mark anymore. And only by Philip, making Kristyas, Lightstone Dragons, and all that kind of stuff alive again.
Yeah, I think you just have to summon the Catastor here and then put the Mystic Tomato in defense position. You just have to build up a wall now. Oh, Magical Android, which is negated.
Yup, pay 800 and leave the field, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Tomato... Oh, 19,000 life points, really. Good for Philip. I think you want to put this Tomato into defense position.
Oh, and there's Royal Decree, which answers not only his own oppression, which he didn't have to answer anymore, but just in case he had an answer to it, but also, of course, the Light Imprisoning Mirror on the other side. So his light monsters are free to be used again, and I'm pretty sure that is game indeed.
Yeah. Bionic is going to attack for 900 damage. Oh no, it's going to bounce something, discarding the Krystia, and now we are desperately looking into our back row, but it's only traps. Royal Decree is a card, and Mark loses this 2-0 to the Kristyasworn of Philip.
Honestly, it's my opinion changes from round to round to round. Whenever I see a deck that we haven't seen for the day, I'm like, yo, this is also crazy. Why have I not thought about this deck winning the whole tournament? And I mean, he is now in top 4 of the tournament, so he's of course a very, very hot contender to actually win the whole thing. Now only having the challenge to win 2 more games in a row, but like, this deck is so overwhelmingly strong. When they start going off, there's basically no way to stop them. The only downside that I have with this deck is, or the only fear I would have bringing that kind of a deck into this tournament would be the Light Imprisoning Mirror, to be honest, because even though it's less light decks being popular than dark decks in comparison, there's still, I think, equally many people playing Light Imprisoning Mirrors as well as there are Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors.
That is true. I mean, there are still some, but I think also the deck has a really terrible time against my top contender, against the anti-meta deck.
True.
Sometimes if you find really good Raikus to outstuff, you can win this matchup. But Kaiku, Banisher of the Radiance are really hard to deal with, and Macrocosmos, of course, as well.
That is indeed true. Also, chat, I have a challenge for you. You still see the top 16 breakdown on the bottom of the screen. And I'm asking you, we told you that the most represented deck of the whole tournament when we started round 1 was a Blackwing. But there's another deck which also is represented in top 16 that was our second most represented deck of the tournament. So, you tell me, what was the second most represented deck of the tournament? Shoot, what was it? Oh, you will have to think about that because we have Emre and our winner of this featured match. Let's hear it from our first top 4 contender, and Emre, take it away, guys.
We're back with Philip, the winner of the top 8 match against Mark. Philip, how do you feel being in the top 4?
Yeah, that match was a thriller. We played round 6 before, and he 2-0'd me this time, and I revenged him 2-0 this time.
So you knew and he knew what both of you were playing because you played earlier.
Yeah, exactly, and I knew exactly what side cards he brings in, and it made it really easy for me then to side.
Your opponent was undefeated till now. You were his first loss.
Yeah.
The last game was kind of tricky because you had oppression, and you
Yeah.
kind of locked out yourself.
I had to decide between do I oppression or do I try to summon Christian next turn, but I didn't want to risk it and try to put him off the normal sum. But then there was this weird misplay from him because I had Soul and Arcus, and he crashed his tomato into my Arcus with less ATK.
Yeah, we had
And
that.
That was a bit weird,
Yeah,
and I didn't catch that either.
yeah. It wasn't rewindable. If anybody's wondering,
Yeah,
we
I'm
canceled
sorry.
it. That's not your fault. I mean, it's been a long day, and it happens after a long day.
Of course.
Yeah, you're playing Krista in your build, which is you're the only one right now who's placed in the top 8.
Oh yeah, best card.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to see it on the board.
Is there any reason why you played, why you built your deck like in a pretty fairy heavy build?
Yeah, I had a pretty good experience with the deck before in online tournaments, and it has a good matchup versus the top tier decks. So,
And did you play Edison like the format when it was like in 2011?
Yeah.
Did you play back then?
true, yeah.
The same deck or a different deck?
No, I was a Blackwing player. All common, low rarity most
Yeah.
of the time.
I think Lightstorm
Didn't
was
have that
pretty
many.
expensive back then.
Yeah, this was not affordable.
Yeah. Okay, Philip, that's it. Thank you very much. Good
No
luck in
problem.
the top 4, and maybe
Thank
you can
you.
take it home. Thank you.
Yeah.